Once upon a time, in the wide green valleys of an inspired kingdom, there lived three brothers, Thomas, Richard, and Daniel. Thomas and Richard, the two elder brothers, were loud, boastful, and easily swayed by dreams of quick fortune. Daniel, the youngest, was thoughtful, patient, and wise beyond his years. Though he often kept quiet, the people of the village respected him for his kind heart and sharp mind. One day, the king of the land called all the young men of the kingdom to his palace. In a voice both commanding and weary, the king announced, "The golden hat of our forefathers has been stolen. Without it, our kingdom's fortune dwindles, and our fields turn dry. Whoever retrieves it shall be rewarded with riches and the hand of my daughter, Princess Eleanor." The brothers' eyes lit with ambition. They vowed to find the golden hat and restore the kingdom's honor, though each carried different intentions in their heart. The three brothers set out the very next morning, carrying only a small sack of bread, a water skin, and their father's walking sticks. The road was long, stretching beyond rivers, forests, and hills. At first, the brothers laughed and sang songs to keep their spirits high. Thomas and Richard dreamed aloud of how they would wear the golden hat upon their own heads and be praised by all. Daniel, however, kept silent, pondering how such a sacred object might be hidden and protected. As the sun rose higher, they came across a fork in the road. To the left lay a wide path filled with travelers, boasting of fortune and fame. To the right, a narrow trail cut through the dense forest, dark and mysterious. The two elder brothers laughed and said, "Why choose the hard way? Let us take the broad road of ease." But Daniel's instinct tugged him toward the narrow path. He remembered old sayings about truth hiding where few dare to look. For now, though, he followed his brothers, watching carefully as the world around them shifted with each step. As evening fell, the brothers encountered a woman seated on a stone by the roadside. She wore a white gown that shimmered faintly in the fading light, and her voice rang like the notes of a silver bell. "Brave travelers," she said, "I know what you seek. The golden hat lies beyond rivers of fire and mountains of snow. But only those who trust me will find it swiftly." Thomas and Richard, struck by her beauty and enchanted by her words, leaned close. "Guide us, fair lady," they pleaded. But Daniel's sharp eyes noticed something strange. Her shadow flickered unnaturally, and her feet seemed not to touch the earth. He whispered to his brothers, "Be wary, this is no ordinary woman." Yet his warning went unheard. The spirit woman smiled, and with a wave of her hand, a golden light flashed in the distance. Thomas and Richard, blinded by greed, ran toward it, convinced it was the treasure. In truth, they were being led away into a desert wasteland. Daniel, refusing to follow blindly, remained where he stood, his heart steady. The spirit's eyes narrowed as she saw her trick fail on him, and in a voice now sharp as thunder, she hissed, "You are wise, boy, but wisdom alone will not save you." With his brothers deceived and gone, Daniel pressed onward alone. The forest grew thicker and the path darker. Strange cries echoed in the distance, owls, wolves, and the rustle of unseen creatures. Yet Daniel walked calmly, whispering prayers of courage and guidance. He knew the golden hat was not a prize of chance, but a gift meant only for the pure of heart. After hours of wandering, he came upon a stream. Thirsty, he bent to drink, and in the rippling water, he saw the faint reflection of the spirit woman. "Turn back, foolish boy," her voice whispered through the wind. "The golden hat will destroy you." But Daniel did not falter. He lifted his head and said, "If it were meant to destroy me, the king would never have asked for its return. I will continue." The spirit's form vanished, leaving only silence and the rustle of leaves. Strengthened by his conviction, Daniel rose and followed the stream deeper into the forest, believing it would guide him. At dawn, Daniel emerged into a clearing where the earth cracked open into a river of fire. Flames leapt and hissed, casting shadows like dancing demons across the ground. A narrow bridge of stone stretched across, though half broken and unstable. Any wrong step would mean certain death. As Daniel stood at the edge, the spirit reappeared. "Your brothers could not cross," she taunted. "Neither will you." Yet Daniel closed his eyes, breathed deeply, and stepped forward with steady pace. He remembered his late mother's words, "Fear feeds the flames, but courage cools them." With each step, he imagined the flames shrinking, and indeed they seemed to recede. Though sweat poured down his face, he crossed the final stone with a cry of triumph. The spirit howled in fury as Daniel disappeared safely into the cool shadows beyond the fire. Beyond the fire lay a mountain capped in eternal snow. The winds howled so fiercely that Daniel's cloak was nearly ripped from his shoulders. His hands numbed, and his breath came in sharp bursts as frost gathered on his beard and hair. He thought of his brothers, who would have surely perished here had they continued. Halfway up the mountain, Daniel found a cave and sheltered within. To his surprise, inside sat an old hermit wrapped in furs, his eyes twinkling with wisdom. "Why do you climb this cursed mountain, boy?" the hermit asked. Daniel bowed respectfully and told him of the golden hat. The hermit nodded. "The hat lies at the summit, guarded not by beasts, but by your own weakness. Only he who conquers his doubts will claim it." Grateful, Daniel warmed himself by the fire, then continued his climb, each step driven by the strength of his purpose. At the mountain's peak, Daniel discovered a stone altar upon which the golden hat rested. Yet standing before it was a giant eagle, its feathers like burnished bronze, eyes gleaming with fire. With a voice that echoed like thunder, the eagle spoke. "Answer me this riddle, and the hat shall be yours. Fail, and you will fall from this mountain." The riddle was thus: "I fly without wings. I cry without eyes. Wherever I go, darkness flees. What am I?" Daniel thought carefully, his breath freezing in the air. He recalled the nights by his village river, watching dawn break over the horizon. Smiling, he answered, "The wind." The eagle spread its mighty wings, bowed, and vanished into the sky. The altar trembled, and the golden hat gleamed brighter, awaiting its rightful bearer. Daniel lifted the golden hat with reverence and placed it in his satchel. As he descended the mountain, the spirit appeared once more, her form twisted and furious. "You defied me at every turn," she shrieked. "Your brothers were weak, but you too stubborn to break." She sent forth illusions of wild beasts and storms to block his way, but Daniel's resolve remained unshaken. Finally, the spirit faded into mist, defeated at last. Daniel crossed rivers, valleys, and plains, guided by the same stars that once lit his childhood. When he neared the kingdom, villagers saw him and cried out in joy, running to tell the king that the youngest brother had returned, and with him the treasure of the land. Daniel entered the palace with the golden hat held high. The king rose from his throne, his weary face breaking into a smile of relief. "You have restored honor to this land, brave Daniel," he declared. The golden hat was placed upon the altar of the great hall, and at once the torches burned brighter, and the air filled with warmth. The curse was lifted. True to his word, the king offered Daniel great riches and the hand of Princess Eleanor. She, who had watched silently from the shadows, now stepped forward. Her eyes met Daniel's, and in them she saw not just bravery, but kindness and humility. "I will gladly marry this man," she said softly, and the court erupted in cheers. The wedding was held in the palace gardens, where flowers bloomed brighter than ever before. Music filled the air, and villagers danced late into the night. Thomas and Richard, who had barely survived the spirits' traps, returned to witness their younger brother's glory. Though humbled and ashamed, Daniel welcomed them with open arms, saying, "Let this quest be our lesson. Greed blinds, but wisdom guides." Years later, when the old king passed away, Daniel was crowned the new ruler, with Princess Eleanor as his queen. Under his reign, the kingdom prospered, the people flourished, and the golden hat remained a sacred symbol of courage and truth. And so, the tale of the three brothers was sung for generations. The story of how the youngest, through wisdom and perseverance, became not only a hero, but a king. And so ends the quest for the golden hat. But tell me, dear listener, what would you have done if you were Daniel? Would you have chosen the hard path of wisdom or the easy road of greed? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this tale, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more magical stories.